Well, hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to our Young Adult podcast here at Liverpool One Church. And we have these regular conversations on hot topics and questions to help you in these defining and challenging stages of your life. And all being well, we'll be able to help bring some biblical wisdom and relevance into your world to help equip you thrive. And today, we have a very special guest, don't we, Meg?
We do. Hey, we're mixing things up. We are bored of just me and you, Nathan. We're
bored.
done. We've got nothing else to say. No, but we want to invite some amazing people onto these podcasts because, guys, we just think there's so much wisdom in those in our church. You know, we are so blessed to have such great people, and Hayley Byrne's being one of them. She is awesome. And, guys, you might see her on stage every Sunday singing her heart out, leading us in worship, honestly. But there is so much more behind just the worship with you, Hayley. And that's why we've got you here today. We want you to speak into the life of young adults because we know you've got a passion for them. We know that you love them, that you serve them. A lot of our worship team are young adults in that age bracket. So, you know, you lead that team and you lead them so well. And, you know, so you've got some things, you've got some exciting pearls of wisdom to give to the young adults today. So I'm really excited.
I'm excited.
Hayley is just a top-notch girl, honestly, from us, you know, getting to have a friendship with you. We feel honored to have that because, you know, you're just amazing. And I think your life is a real inspiration to a lot of our young adults. They would look to you and think, wow, I want to be Hayley, you know, not just because you worship. I want to be Hayley because I want to worship, sing. But
yeah, but you
God
can't
didn't
sing.
give me them
That's
gifts,
the problem.
so
You can't
that
sing.
might help.
I know. So I'll accept that I didn't get given that gift from God. But no, introduce yourself a bit because obviously people know you as the worship leader, but there's a lot more behind you. You've got a full-time job. You have your own, you know, you've got loads going on. So yeah, let us in on your life.
So I'm Hayley, obviously. I'm married. I'm married to John. I lead the worship department here with Josh Scott. I have a full-time job, so I am a SEN lecturer at a local college. I also own a dance school as a little side hustle that I do.
Love that.
Nice.
And homeowner. I've got a baby. She might be a dog, but I've got a baby. I
was going to say, we didn't know about this.
I've got Peggy.
Revealed.
She's our firstborn. So just, 28. So I feel old, the fact that you're saying the majority of, you know, bands are that YA, because I think I'm obviously now the top end of the YA bracket. Yeah. But 28 and being in LOC now for 7 years.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gone really fast.
Hayley, you were the first to come out of your family and now she's got a tribe of family that comes. So I love that. It's
I think
amazing.
we feel about 2 rows
You
now.
do. Love it.
So just thinking about that age range then of our young adults from like 18 to 30, what were your steps from like 18 to where you find yourself like now?
Yeah. So 18, I think 18 is a daunting time. Like you turn 18, it's like you finish sixth form or college or whatever, and it's like, what are you going to do for the rest of your life? Like that is daunting.
Yeah,
you don't have a clue. I didn't have a clue. Like I'd grown up in the arts. I'd done, I was like triple threat. I danced and sang and act like from a really young age. So I knew I wanted to do something in that area, but did not have a clue. So I took a year out. I auditioned at a few places, got in, thought I was going to London, but then like the funding was really different back then. You weren't able to get like student finance and stuff to train. So I took a year out, did different contracts, auditions, all of that for the space of a year, came back, decided to go to university. So I did my BA in dance and then specialised in business in my 3rd year.
Wow.
I then stayed on and did my teacher training. So I did my PGCE for a further year, and then kind of fell into a job, if I'm honest, which was a charity, which was a dance and sport employment charity. So we worked with 16 to 25-year-olds who were from quite a deprived area, didn't know, you know, what they could go into, education or jobs, or so we'd kind of work and use sports and dance to encourage that out of them and build self-development that way. And then finally fell back onto my teacher training. When I did my teacher training, I specialised in special educational needs. So that's obviously how I fell into my current role. But in that time also started a dance school, so that was my passion.
Just casually dropped it in there.
You know, not many people start other things when you do it.
17, towards the end of 2017, and it was just a passion in me that I knew if I didn't do it, I'd rather die trying than kind of never pursue that. So it was something that I just thought, you know what?
Yeah.
And
And I love that because you'd done your degree in dance, but then, you didn't get your job in it, but then you had such a passion for it that you didn't leave that dream die. You didn't let that go. You thought, no, I'm actually going to do something about this.
Yeah.
And that's why we've got you on today, because we just think, to have that ability to start something new and in the unknown, not knowing where it's going to go, not knowing where it's going to end up, just being like, I'm going to start this. I've got a passion for it. A lot of people lose their passions because they haven't got the job for it, or they didn't get accepted on that university course for it. But actually, you can still pursue that passion, but try and find different ways. So love that.
So good. And many people have this desire to like build something, but not many people have the skill set of being a pioneer. And I think that's what I really admire about you. And I think like all young adults are going to get so much from this. But like thinking about all of that, and many people could sort of be subjective and sort of say, look, Hayley, you were really, really busy. But with our young adults, do you think that people often overuse that word busy?
Yeah. 1,000,000%, if I'm honest. The word busy alone kind of frustrates me a little bit. And this is where I have to kind of give a lot of grace. I think even in that season, like even when I was at university, for instance, like I had 3 jobs whilst I was at uni. Like I did 3 other jobs, but yet was still at church serving. Like I did when I was doing my teacher training, I would still finishing your dissertation, all of those things. I was still committed to life group. Like I think at one point we were all in the same life group originally.
That back in the day.
So yeah,
thank
still
you, Joe Ash, for leading us in that. Great.
Joey and Nico.
Nico.
Thanks, guys.
But yeah, just kind of like making sure that was still a priority. It had to be. I think the word busy. It's sometimes kind of used as like a badge of honor. So people kind of say like, I can't come to that, I'm too busy. When it's kind of like, you can say you're busy all you want, but if there's no kind of fruit from that busy title, then what's the benefit of it? The only thing that you're going to kind of do, you're wasting your resource. So I'm busy, I can't do this, I can't do that. Or, I can't, I'll use obviously band as an example. I can't come to band on Wednesday. I'm busy. But actually those things that you filled your week with, if they're not being productive and it's not a good use of time, then you're just mentally going to tire yourself out just for the sake of it, rather than actually seeing fruit from that busy season.
And I love what you're saying about the fruit there, because I think, me and Nathan have entered this busy season. We've got 2 babies now and they're very close in age and they both need their diapers changing, and it's just busy with the kids, and it really is. But then we do try and still do other things. We still try and do things like this, like podcasts, and I really have learned in this season that actually, to get rid of almost that terms like, oh, you must be so busy. Because that's all I get all the time walking down the street. Oh, you look, you must be tired. You must be busy. And people like to say that on you. People like to try and pat you on the back and be like, you're so busy, just take a rest. But actually, I think if you're busy, but there's a grace for that busyness. So right now, I believe that God's graced, us to parent. He's graced us to do this ministry right now. He's graced us to do marriage. He's graced us to have friends. Actually, there's going to be an ease on your life. So even though for you, Hayley, you're running and you're busy, but you will find that as an ease because God's graced you for that. So I think for you young adults who maybe you do feel busy and you feel overworked, there might be something, like you said, that's not productive. There might be something that you're running with that has no fruit to it. And that means God is not giving you the grace for that lane in that season. So you might just have to reevaluate and think, actually, there might be something. If I'm really struggling with this busy life I've got, maybe there's something I'm doing that God doesn't want me to do right now. And I believe, God has obviously got a grace over your dance school, because that's why it's still going. That's why you've still got energy to do it. That's why you're still pursuing it, because there's a grace over it as well.
I think it's very clear just hearing that response, Hayley, is you had very clear priorities. And I think so many young adults don't have clear priorities, and that's what causes this tension that is sort of to be managed. And then as well from that, I think people just genuinely aren't that really organized, and then that becomes so like there's so many spinning plates, so to speak, and then they become overwhelmed, when really if they had priorities and if they organize themselves better, it would be fine. So moving on then, so what would you say to people who are trying to be successful in multiple areas of their life? Because you are super successful in various areas. Maybe you could speak some wisdom into our young adults and give them some top tips for things like that.
I mean, I've got here, so Proverbs 16 talks about how the heart of man plans his way, but the Lord will establish his steps.
So good.
So you can kind of say like, okay, my heart is to, for example, in my terms, to start my dance school. To kind of pursue that. Like it's all I've ever known. I want to use those skills and to kind of pursue that. But if but if God didn't then establish my steps, then it would have been shut down straight away. So the first thing I would say, like, what does success mean?
Yeah.
That's a massive thing. So like, what does success mean to you? So personally, I think people kind of think success is like work, job, money.
Yeah.
That's success. When actually my top tip now, as a 28-year-old married woman with a home and responsibilities, is like, I need to be a successful human being.
So good.
So I want to be kind. I want to be humble. I want to be honorable. I want to be a successful wife. I want to be a successful daughter, friend, like one day parent, leader. Like those are the things that I want to be successful in. Like I don't just, it'd be great. Let's all be honest. It would be great if you're rolling in it in your bank account, you know, like that would be brilliant. But at the same time, does that bring happiness? No. So it's kind of like, let's be successful in the things that are unseen.
So it's almost like it's more about who you are than what you do.
Yeah. Because success then comes when God's favor is on it. That's when success comes. So when you're honorable and when you're successful in things that are unseen. So I've just put here kind of like the things that don't get posted on social media. That's success. Like the things that are about your character. So like, I don't want people to say, for instance, like, oh, Hayley has, you know, she's got a dance school. Like, oh, she's done really well, like in her job, or, you know, she's got a mortgage. And what? Like, I want people to say about me, like, oh, she's humble. Like, she's kind. Like, if I phone her, she's going to pick up. Like, I want to be that kind of person rather than just basing success on value. I think with the whole success thing, that you've got to have a balanced life.
Right.
You've got to. If you don't, it's kind of like a rubber ball. Remember those? They used to tie all the rubber bands in a ball. Like, if you just kind of pull and pull and pull and pull so much, it's going to snap. So it's having that balance in your life, really. What's the goal? What's the purpose? What do you want to achieve in it? And I would just say, stay consistent. Like, you've got to be consistent. There's nothing worse in a personality trait that I find when you're a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde. Like, you never kind of know how people are going to get you. Are you going to be in a good mood, a bad mood? Are you going to be excited, down? Like, just be consistent in whatever you do, and whether that's work, church. I would like to say that in my workplace, they see no difference to how you guys see me.
So
like,
good.
I've got to be consistent in that. And for me, that's being successful in multiple areas, is being consistent and being a nice person.
Do you know what? I think that's such good wisdom. Like, young adults usually need to be listening to this, because honestly, I think if we all knew that, we could all breathe and like strive for different goals in life, rather than striving for that job or that promotion. Strive to be kinder, strive to be more generous, strive to be more consistent and faithful. Like, it's almost like we should be striving more for them fruits of the spirit, we'd call it, wouldn't we? You know, we should be striving for them, because actually, you know, when you have them, you're going to be successful at work. You're going to have a better marriage, because actually you're kinder, you know. So it's kind of like, hey, let's try and just change our perspective of success and have like, hold on, we're successful because of our character. And I absolutely love that. That's awesome.
So good, so good. Well, moving on, let's throw this into the mix, because people often use this word capacity, and I don't really think they fully understand why that's important to consider. So does your capacity grow the busier you are? Like, does it increase? The
and
busier
what do you mean by capacity?
Become?
Explain to our young adults.
Capacity being, let's just think of, I know it's a silly analogy, but like a computer has got so much RAM, in other words, so much processing power. So as a person, you have capacity and ability to do so many things at the same time. So you become multitasking and trying to spin all these plates. So your capacity is like your limit almost, the boundary that you can do everything within. So does your capacity grow the busier you get? What do you think on that, Hales? Because that's an interesting one.
I think when you kind of focus on something, your effectiveness in that area increases. And then when your effectiveness increases, you naturally can handle more. So if I'm effective, for instance, with running a small business, and I'm consistent with that, and I'm effective in what I'm doing, my capacity within that area will just continue to grow. And this is something that I'm kind of learning, like, naturally I'm a doer. Like, I feel like I've got a high, like you guys, like I've got a high capacity. Like I always have. Like, I remember being in school and uni, and like I would just do and do and do and do. And I think that's something that's kind of been installed in me growing up. Like I remember turning 16, my mum and dad were like, you want driving lessons? You work. You want to do this? You get a job. Like everything was kind of like, and I'm so glad that my parents did that. Yeah. So naturally my capacity is high. But obviously if I wasn't effective in that area, it kind of balances out. So like, yes, your capacity increases, but you've got to be effective for it to increase. Otherwise, you're kind of pursuing something that isn't going to grow. Like your capacity is not going to grow when within that area you aren't meant to be at that present time. And everyone has their own lanes. Right. And this is something that I kind of have to grow. So just because, for instance, your skill set isn't mine doesn't mean that yours is wrong or vice versa. Yeah. Like I think sometimes we naturally look and go, oh, and this you'll notice this when you guys got married as well. Like you are opposite. So sometimes when John does stuff, it would annoy me and vice versa. But actually his strength is my weakness and my strength is his weakness. Yeah. So people are just different. People are running in their own lanes, at their own race, at their own pace. And that's a great thing about church. That's a great thing about community is that we all have our own strengths in our own set areas, but just because it's not ours doesn't make it wrong. And again, here I've just kind of put busy has to equal productivity. Yeah. Otherwise, what's the point? Yeah. What's the point in doing it if it's not productive?
What would you say, Nathan, on like capacity in the sense of like, say someone's watching right now and they're like, I want to grow my capacity. Like, I want to do more. Like, come on, I feel like I can do this. I've got this in me. Where would they start? What would you say?
Well, I think you got to look at all the, like we talked about earlier on, the priorities of your life and go, where is the space in your capacity? And like Hayley was saying before about how when you pick up a skill or pick up a certain thing that you want to do and you master it, it then almost goes into like autopilot, where that becomes a shorter amount of time, a shorter amount of energy you have to use.
So you can focus on something else.
So you can focus on something else. So I think what I would say to that is get something you're passionate about that maybe you haven't broke into or explored before. Yeah. Have a go at doing it. So like in the context of church, that would look like getting involved in teams,
so good.
Getting involved in life groups, getting involved in the areas of church where you can serve that matches your skill set. Yeah. And then once you have been consistent, and once you have, been able to do that over a period of time where you've almost mastered that skill to a certain extent, because like, let's face it, we're always learning, we're always growing, we're always trying to become better. But you've done that for a season where you're able to feel comfortable, then you can move on to something else. And I think the main thing I would say on capacity is do not run at 100% capacity. Always give yourself like 20% spare. Yeah. Because as well as I do, when your computer's running at max capacity in terms of like its process and power, it just dies and it's no good for nothing. So, and I've made that mistake before. I've had to do too many things at the same time, become burned out, and then I'm left with nothing. So,
and then that starts to affect everyone around you as well. So they see, like, you always take it out on people closest to you. Oh, for sure. So if I have took on too much, John sees the impact of it and he goes, you need to say no to stuff. Like, so obviously the greater your capacity, great if you're a doer, but keep that 20% to obviously focus on yourself, focus on your marriage, focus on your house. So just keep checking yourself.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. So does your faith then play a role in decision making? Just changing gears slightly, because obviously you've made many decisions to do different things. Decisions to grow your own personal life and your own family, and you have a husband, decisions to grow your business, decisions to do all your education and the direction that you've went in. But what does faith in the decision-making process have to do with anything?
So earlier on in Proverbs 16, the scripture that I said before, it says, commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. So my answer to that of kind of, does your faith play a role in your decision-making? Yes. Yeah. So for me, I'm kind of like, if God's not in it, I don't want to do it. Like, that's kind of how I am. That's my stance. So good. So, and I kind of see it on a way that like, God's given me my talents. Like, God has given me my strengths, areas that I'm good at, areas that I'm not so good at, my passion. So I obviously I said before, I grew up performing. So I grew up doing musical theatre, dancing, singing, which I absolutely loved. And I've worked in that sector and I've kind of trained in that sector. But after audition, after contract, after audition, like, I hated it. And the reason I hated it is because it was my God-given talent that I was using to elevate myself. Yeah. So I'd be stood in an audition and everyone would be like elbowing you out of the way, and you'd be like, oh, it's just horrible. Yeah. Like you're like tripping up on the dance studio floor from sweat. Like everyone's just giving it beans. And I just hated it because it just wasn't me. Like I'd kind of look at it and go, oh, it just sat really uncomfortable personally for me. And that's not to say that other people shouldn't push through on those dreams. They definitely should. But just for me, I'm kind of like, if God is my gift giver, then I will seek him first above all else. So rather than elevating myself and using my talent to elevate myself, I want it to be about him every single time. In every decision, like I will seek him first. And like I said earlier, I'm a doer. But I believe in prayer. That's a massive thing. So because I'm a doer, I believe the closer I am in relationship to God, the more in tune with his voice I am. So that's not to say sometimes Christians have this tendency to say, I'll just wait on God. And they do this thing and you're like, I'll just wait on God to see whether I should apply for that job, say, or I'll just wait on God to know whether I should apply for uni. And I'm like, no, do. Like God is a doer. Like God would say, okay, listen to me. The closer you are in relationship with me, the more clearly you're going to know what's of me and what's not. So push those doors. Like if it's not meant, it will shut. Open that window. If it's not meant, it will close. Kind of be a doer. Don't just kind of sit back and go, I'll just wait. No, let's do. Like God would do. Listen to God's voice. Like he's not going to have like, you know, this voice from heaven where we just, and it goes, Hayley, open a business. Like it's not that type of thing. But he says, does it feel right? Are you talented in that area? Do it. And if it's not a success or it's not meant to be, then I'll close the door. Which thankfully, like everything I've kind of pushed on so far when it comes to jobs and things have been of God, I feel. So
that's so good.
I would,
I love that. Wow. We're doing good.
This is fun.
Good. I'm learning lots.
I'm learning so much. Thank you for sharing.
I kind of want to be 18 again and hear this and start my life again.
I know. All the things that you
Maybe
tell
I wouldn't
yourself.
choose to do two babies so close together. I'm not sure there's grace for that, but no. God's in it still. Hey, so let's go back to, you know, being successful, you know, like you said, obviously you linked it to your character, but also we believe in working hard and building resilience. So just let's go through that again quickly. Like what is your definition then of success?
For me, I would say success is contentment.
Yeah. I like that.
Like this is something that I've really struggled with over the years. Like I believe that everyone is built with a God-shaped hole inside you. So everyone is built with a God-shaped hole. And if we don't know God, if we're not seeking God or focusing on him, we will fill it with everything. So like I went through a stage where I filled it with holidays.
Ooh,
like I filled it
Where
with...
did you go? What places?
Oh, I would just go on like city breaks. And when I look back to it, it was all on the credit card. Great memories, but waste of money. And I would fill it with holidays. I'd fill it with auditions. I'd fill it with going out. I'd fill it with drinking, like, you know, all of those things. And I was striving for the next thing constantly. Like, what else can I do? And I felt like if I wasn't doing, I wasn't successful. But I felt like that because I just was not content whatsoever. But when you kind of focus in on God and who God is, who God says you are, which is so important. Like, if you don't know who God says you are, if you don't know what God says you are, you don't know yourself. So and it's kind of like when you don't know that, you're going to strive for the next thing. So I'll buy that car, you know, I'll date that person, I'll sleep around, like that's all right. And you kind of fill that hole with just anything that will make you feel content for that moment. But actually that's not long-term success. That's not the definition of success. So for me, I would just say contentment. Like success for me is, like I said earlier, I want to be a good person. Like I want to seek God first. I want to be a good wife, a good daughter, sister, friend, leader. I want to have a happy home. Like I want to be spoke about in a positive way. I don't want to be, you know, my niece and nephew, for instance, to say, oh, Auntie Hayley was too busy to speak to me. Like I want to be content where I'll go, do you know what? Saturday we're going out. Or I want to be that sort of content where I'm happy with my lot and stop comparing yourself to everybody else, I would say. So I could quite easily kind of go, oh, Megan and Nathan have now got 2 kids. Like, right, that's it. Like, I need to have kids.
Yeah.
I want to.
But that ruins your journey then, doesn't it?
Yeah, and actually, like, is that right for us in this present season? No, one day, and it'll be a blessing. And But in this current season, like, no, but I'm not going to compare myself to you guys. And I think sometimes we get in this trap where it's like, you know, we've finished uni. Everyone else has got a grad job. What are you doing? We're single. Everyone else is dating. We need to find someone.
Pressure,
we're dating. Everyone else is getting engaged. Let's get engaged. Like, we've just got this constant pressure that those things equal success, when actually, if you're content with what you've got in that current season, like, that's success. And God will honor that, and God will pursue you and honor and bless you in that current season that you're in.
Yeah, I think that's so valuable, because so many young adults will be striving. Yeah. And this is a lesson that we've both learned, haven't we, Meg? Yeah. Where actually, when you just settle and just are content with where you are, God will all of a sudden go, over here, this is the next thing I want you to go and do. So I think that's so important, like such a great point. But like, you've established your own business. Yeah. And you've actually built something, you've pioneered something. So for any young adults listening right now, maybe they're thinking in their heads, hey, I have got this dream of starting my business in whatever area. So like, to them right now, what would you say? So how do you build something then from the ground up to maybe encourage these guys to make the same step of faith that you did, if that aligns with their skill set and everything else we've been talking about? But how do you build something from the ground up? Because you've done it. You've been successful. What would you say?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head when you say about like the talent that's got to be there. Like, I couldn't, for instance, then go, do you know what? I'm going to create a business in IT, because I'm rubbish. Like, I literally just had Bethel here now, like, helping me make sure my laptop doesn't turn off. That's not my skill set. So kind of the skill has got to be there. Like, pray. You've got to pray. Like, you've got to put God first. Like, before kind of then just running with a dream or with a, like, pray about it. Like, spend some time before God, journal, get all of your ideas, all of your prayers wrote down. Create a plan, a clear plan.
It's good to have a plan.
Yep, always. Prepare your, like, you would call it like your USP. So your, like, unique selling point. Now, I find naturally in Christians, it's them. So I find naturally with me, for instance, and it's going to sound, and I hate this, this sounds big-headed, but sometimes with my dance school, like, parents buy into me. Yeah. So they buy into, like, the fact that you're like, hi, how's your week been? Like, how they like that. They like the fact that the kids come and the kids come out and I feel happy. They feel safe. They feel...
I think I'm ready to send Clara to dance school. I mean, she's only 15 months, but I think she's ready. She can
she
turn,
was. She's a natural.
She can go on her tippy toes. She's going to be the next.
I'll
be sending her to all these dance things. You will be a dancer, because I never was.
Dance mum.
Yeah.
You know, that's actually so true, because I've done sales now for 6 years.
Yeah.
People don't buy products. People buy people.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned. And I think that's so true what you're saying there, which is awesome.
I think with church as well, one of the great things about church is that so many skill sets are in the one place. So that's not to say kind of like use people and drop them, but oh my goodness, like the skill set in the church is massive. So if you've got another self-employed media person, for instance, use them to kind of help you, and vice versa. Right. Or if you've got someone who, you know, is great on social media, but you're shocking, like, use them to help you, show you how to do like the reels and all, like all stuff like that, stuff like that. Like, help each other out, because that's kind of one of the massive benefits of community in church.
Love that.
Get others involved where they can. Like, I know, like, some of my friends, some of which are in church, when it comes to my show, for instance, I've like got them the DBSs, because I'm like, you're helping, like, you're backstage, I'm just, because actually, and they're more than happy to help, and that's like, I love them for it.
I'm still waiting for my offer to help.
Well, I've got a show in December.
So can I be the front?
And then finally, I've just got work hard. Like, it won't happen overnight. Like, it kind of won't just happen and go, do you know what, I'm going to do this. And then within 2 weeks, it's a massive success, and you've got...
And I'm sure there's been, especially with like COVID and all of that's happened, I'm sure that's brought in some difficulty. So how have you found sort of what has tested your resilience in that? Because you've got to be resilient to lead something. So I'm sure you've had that tested in the past.
Yeah, I think especially in like the field, the sector, whatever that I'm in, it's competition. Yeah. So like competition is massive, especially within the arts. Like there's, you literally throw a stone and there's another dance school. You throw a stone, there's another singing teacher. You throw there's constantly competition. Others doing the exact same thing as you. So kind of like you put something up. Say, for instance, you're doing a dance camp or a summer camp. Then you've literally got the other dance school, which is around the corner, does the exact same and kind of tries to steal all of your students. And that type of thing has been, it's been hard. And negative voices, that's a massive thing.
Yeah.
Like just... You've got to have people around you that are going to speak positivity into your life. Like the people that are kind of like, oh, have you thought about it though? Or like, no, like you need those people around you that go, oh, do you know what? If you want to add another class on a Saturday, as long as you know you're not going to stretch yourself so much that you know you're going to overpower, you're going to be stressed, go for it. Like, do you want me to help out on the first week? Like those are the type of people that you should have around you. Like in 1 Corinthians 15, it says, therefore, my beloved brothers, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in your work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord, your labor is not in vain. Like, so whatever you're going to pursue, like it's not in vain. Like as long as God is with you, it will be a success. Like God is in it, then favor will be upon it.
Amazing.
So good. I really love that, you know, and even going back to what we were saying before about work ethic. So like, and we talked about faith, but how do they both complement each other?
Yeah.
Your faith, your work ethic. How has that worked out for you?
I think when you kind of look at it, like way back in Genesis, like God is at the beginning, he's a creator.
Yeah.
So we're made in his image.
Yeah.
So he has kind of looked and gone, oh, do you know what? Like, I'm going to create that animal. Like, I'm going to put a river there. I'm going to put a mountain there. Like, he is a doer. He is a creator. So therefore, if I'm made in his image, then my worth ethic is to be a doer.
Yeah.
Like, and again, it goes back to grace. Everyone has different levels of capacity. I get that. But for me, if God, I'm created in his image, he created all aspects of creation, mankind, nature. He's a doer, he's hardworking, he's dedicated, and he carries things through until completion. So I feel like we need to be doers, we need to be creators, pioneers, we need to lead by example, to give without receiving. And I think as a young person, sometimes that's difficult.
Yeah.
People are kind of like, they'll give hoping that they receive.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'll come to that life group if then you're going to take me, because you're the life group leader, you'll take me out for coffee. When it's kind of like, no, come to that life group and contribute everything you've got, whether your life group leader meets you that week or not. Like give and give and give, serve, you know, without getting posted on Instagram how well you've just, you know, pulled Henry the Hoover around. Like just serve, like serve where people don't. And obviously I don't have a child yet. But I just put here, like labor is painful. You will know. Meg, twice through.
Gosh.
Labour is painful.
I've witnessed it.
It's long, exactly.
Painful.
It's long, it's intense, it's drawn out. But look at Clara and Layla, like the reward at the end of it
so good.
is completely worthwhile.
Yeah.
So although it's drawn out and it's painful and it's intense, the reward at the end of it is worth every second of pain that you went through. So God is a creator, a doer, and a leader, so we should follow in his footsteps.
So good. Well, Hayley, you've given so much wisdom there. I've learned so much. I'm sure the young adults right now, hopefully they're taking notes and applying it. Whatever age you are, to be fair, you can learn from this. But let's get a takeaway point and finish up and wrap up, because time is nearly going. So what would you say to a young adult who wants to be successful, but right now they're just struggling with all the demands in their life?
Yeah. I think success looks different on different people. So your success is not mine, and my success is not yours. As long as God is in it, everything else will succeed. So stay consistent in whatever season you're in right now. Life happens quickly, so stop. I hate it when young people do this. Like, stop wishing it on. Like when I think back, when you'd be like, I just want to be engaged. Like, I just want to like stop wishing it on. So if you're single, enjoy it. Like, stop pushing the doors that aren't meant to be open at the minute. If you're dating, enjoy it. Stop mithering because your friends have just got engaged or have just got married or whatever, that you should now jump into that next step. Like, at university, enjoy it. That is the biggest networking opportunity you will ever have, being at uni. Like, make friends, because they're going into that field that you are, that you can then pull on and use them for later on. Like, your next season's right around the corner. Keep a balanced lifestyle, leave room for God in everything that you do, and always leave time for yourself. Stay focused, consistent, work harder behind the scenes than you do on a platform.
Love that.
And when God sees that, he's all over it.
Wow. So good. Wow. Mic drop right there, I think would just do it. But hey guys, thank you so much, Hayley.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for just sharing and just being just
completely out of my comfort zone. I know. I said before, I was like, can I not just do it through interpretive dance?
Oh, brilliant. Well, hey, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We love you. And hey, we're just wishing you all the best for all the future endeavors and the future things.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. But hey, young adults, how great was that? That was so good to hear from Hayley. But we have another special guest next time, don't we, Meg?
We do.
Josh Scott is going to be coming. He's going to be sharing. I'm really excited about that too. But hey, time has gone for this week. But hey, we love you guys. Share this people you know. Encourage them in their world. If you feel like this is going to benefit them, please share it. But until next time, we're signing off and we're saying, hey, have a great week, guys. And we will see you real soon.